Hey guys, it has been a little bit since I've recorded an NBA video. Last video was when Kemba got traded, and I've just been working a lot. It's summertime. Hornets news has not been flowing like it has been in the season, but I have some topics to go through today. Some Hornets related, some just general things that are on my mind as it comes to the NBA. But to start off with the Hornets, the NBA draft just happened. The Hornets stay at 11. There was a 1.8% chance at the number one pick at Cade Cunningham. But unfortunately, Detroit got him, which is, I kind of like it for Detroit. Starting from drafting Darko, they've just not had a lot going for them in the last 12 years in the NBA. I mean, Blake Griffin was nice for a year. Andre Drummond was nice for a couple years. He had a couple. I don't know if he was an all-star in Detroit. I'd have to look that up. But regardless, they have not had a good stretch of years. They've been rebuilding for what seems like my entire life. And to see him get the number one overall pick in Cade Cunningham is kind of heartwarming. Because they're one of those teams that just them and the Orlando Magic just need to get a player. And luckily for Orlando as well, they get two top 7 picks. I believe Orlando has the 6th or 7th pick and the 4th pick, something like that, which is really good for their rebuild. And if I want to talk about the Hornets staying at number 11, which was, predicted, it was the percentage chance most that we would stay at the 11th pick. I've been hating all of these mock drafts. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. The players that I see that we are supposedly picking up at 11 is just insane to me. That there's obviously there's going to be 20 players in this draft that are going to make an impact immediately, like there was in the 2020 draft, where people thought it was, a top-heavy draft and there was only 3 good players in the draft. But then you see Tyrese Halliburton, pick number 11th, have a really good season. You see Peyton Pritchard have a really good season. You see Desmond Bane have a really good season. Isaiah Stewart. You see all these players that you wouldn't expect to have a really good season, their rookie season, have that. And that's kind of the same story in this draft, except the players that I see that are mocked towards us at number 11 does not give me that same vibe of Tyrese Halliburton. Like, Tyrese Halliburton should not have fallen to 11. You see my mock draft that I just reacted to a couple weeks ago. I was even high on him. So I don't know what NBA scouts were thinking, but looking at different mock drafts, you see the names. I'll start off with Jalen Johnson. That's pretty well known in Wisconsin. At least he went to school in Wisconsin instead of playing at Wisconsin. The University of Wisconsin, he played at Duke. And I hate this. I hate that. If you guys don't know why I hate Jalen Johnson, he quit half the year. His team wasn't doing good at Duke. He didn't really have a good relationship with Coach K, which is very hard to do because Coach K, although he can be hard on his players, from what I've seen in press reports, in JJ Redick's podcasts, he gets the best out of guys, and he wasn't able to do that with a supposed NBA prospect in Jalen Johnson, which is just crazy because you see all the names that come out of Duke. Kyrie Irving, I'm blanking. Austin Rivers is the next person I think of. Seth Curry, not Steph Curry, but Seth Curry. You see all these names, and he wasn't able to coach Jalen Johnson. What do you think Coach James JB is going to do with him? It just doesn't make sense to get Jalen Johnson, who, in my eyes, quit from a team that wasn't going anywhere and didn't stick throughout the whole season. That's just my point of view. Next, we have Michigan's own Wagner. Not high on this guy either. I saw him play. I'm not a big college basketball fan, but I saw him play in March Madness, and he did not have a good stretch of games that I saw. Seems like he was just a clone of his brother, who was in the NBA, who was picked high, who was projected it's the same range as his younger brother, and his brother did not pan out. Wagner, however you say it. I know it's foreign. Mo did not pan out. He's been traded to the Bulls and now on the Celtics. He got a little bit time in that playoff run for the Celtics. It wasn't much of a run for the Celtics. It was a walk because they got bounced in the first round. But regardless, I'm not high on his younger brother. I think he's an exact fucking clone. We don't need a wing that supposedly can shoot in this year's draft. Because I have a feeling he's just not going to pan out. I would rather pick Jalen Johnson over this Michigan guy. That's just my point of view. And the last person I see is Moses Moody. Gonna be honest, guys, don't know who the fuck this guy is. Just saw his height, and I like him already. I just saw he's over 6'11", and that's pretty much all I know about him. Let me actually do some research. Because I've heard this guy in rumors all over Hornets Twitter, and I mean he looks like a decent guy. He has not really an afro, kind of an afro. Never mind, he is 6'6". Who the fuck am I thinking of? And why are we getting a 6'6" shooting guard? Okay, he's from the Razorbacks. That's Arkansas. Okay. I got to do some research on Moses Moody because I thought there's definitely another Moses that's a center that I'm thinking of. Regardless, let's move on to my next topic in Melo winning Rookie of the Year. You realize that this isn't a really hot topic, and I didn't make a video right when he got Rookie of the Year because it's a given, and I've been saying it for months, so it's just nice to see the validation in the trophy. It was a nice video that came out in the apparel shop at the stadium of LaMelo and Miles Bridges. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a pretty funny video. I think that duo just if they vibe that much, like chemistry-wise off the court, I'm just excited about what's to come next season. Between Melo and Miles Bridges, as you know, Miles Bridges has a lot to prove in his fourth year. He just scored over 20 points per game in the second half of the season this year. He's proven that he can be a reliable scorer when there's not a lot of scoring around him. But we still have to see, guys. We still have to see if he can be that good of a scorer when you have Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, and LaMelo Ball also getting shots. That's my only thing. I think if Melo wants to continue on the same path as his comparisons like Jason Kidd, I think he has to be in all-star conversation talks. And I might make a video soon about what it would take for him to be in the all-star game next year, because I think that is a real milestone for Melo, is to make an all-star game in a second year like Jason Kidd did, like I think Penny Hardaway did as well. The guys that Alonzo was supposed to be, maybe LaMelo becomes that, and maybe I'll make a video on who he would have to beat out in the Trae Youngs and maybe the Ben Simmons if he doesn't get traded to the Trailblazers, who he'd have to beat out to be in the All-Star game next season, because I think that'd be an interesting video. If I want to move on to unrelated Hornets news, I want to talk about Rudy Gobert, because my most viewed video on this channel was me reacting to the Utah Jazz for Charlotte Hornet game. I think LaMelo played in that game. It was pre-All-Star break, and I don't know why, but that shit just blew up for over 2,000 views. Maybe over 3,000, I can't even remember. Regardless, a lot of reason for that views is because I got my video that I made reacting to the game got shared around to the Utah Jazz Facebook groups somehow. Somehow one Utah Jazz fan shared it to because I shit on Rudy Gobert. And I want to just say that I was right. Back then I didn't really understand all the hype around Rudy Gobert. Actually, let me correct myself. I said that he wasn't a super max contract player. And man, did I get roasted in that comment saying, what about his points per screen and his defensive shares, all these stats that, I like to bring up when talking about the Rookie of the Year race. But when talking about defensive stats, it all boils down to if he can stretch stretch out to the 3-point line and guard wings. And he really got exposed in that game 7, guys. It was super embarrassing if you were a Jazz fan to see that, because it was hard for Quinn Snyder to get his super max guy off the court, and he didn't, and he was supposed to, because if okay, say someone like Donovan Mitchell is letting his guy score 4 straight threes, and he is just not learning his lesson, and a Terrence Mann is scoring 12 over him, and he is just doesn't seem to guard the 3 every time, Donovan Mitchell gets pulled. But when Rudy Gobert does that same thing, and Terrence Mann is in the fucking corner like a prostitute, just chucking up threes, and Rudy Gobert, his slow closeout because he's 7'2", and all he can do is protect the paint. That's just not the modern NBA, and he really got exposed. And if the Jazz were to win that game, I think that he would have even got exposed even more. And I love this comparison between the two centers in Rudy Gobert and DeAndre Ayton, because you see with DeAndre Ayton, he doesn't get exposed. He can go out to the 3-point line and guard those Clippers wings, and I just love to see that, because that is today's NBA. You can be the greatest rim protector in the world. You can be a Shaq at the rim, but when you get stretched out and you have to guard the perimeter, and you're too slow to guard the perimeter because you're too scared to get it blown by if you go way too far up on the shooter, that's just not going to work in today's NBA. And for Rudy Gobert to be a supermax guy, I think the Utah Jazz are kicking themselves because they aren't really flexible this offseason. They got extensions to give out. They got free agents in Mike Conley. And they're just at a crossroads now. They thought they were, hot to trot as the number 1 seed. And now they're just, head over heels, diving in the deep end. So that's my rant on Rudy Gobert. And to transition to DeAndre Ayton and the Suns, who just won their game off a Ayton dunk with 2 seconds left. They are rolling right now. And I would be kind of scared if I was a Phoenix Suns fan, because you did see this 2-0 series lead that the Clippers were down 2-0 against the Mavs. The Clippers were down 2-0 against the Jazz. They came back and beat both those teams in 7 and 6 respectively. I would be a little scared. And I think that pressure is on Monty Williams to really shine in this game 3, because he knows that the Clippers are coming, and the Clippers are better when their backs are against the wall. And I think they're going to be different. I think the Suns are going to be fine, guys. This game 3, I think they're going to be even more motivated than ever to not, be on that same trend as the two teams that the Clippers played before them were on. And yeah, I think they'll be fine. The Suns are just fucking rolling. Cameron Payne had 29 points. Devin Booker also, didn't have his best game, but you see late in games, Nick Batum, former Charlotte Hornet, had to really, Devin Booker's right here outside the 3-point line. Nick Batum has to be right here, and that, that helps Cameron Payne's driving lanes to the basket. So even though Devin Booker, 24 points on 5 of 13 shooting, you see his impact as an overall scorer, as an overall, clutch player, really have an impact towards his teammates. And, that's kind of the LaMelo effect that I think I'll see in the future. But if I want to preview the Bucks and the Hawks to finish off this video, because they do play, let's see, when do they play? Tomorrow at 7:30. Bucks are going to be, licking their chops that they didn't have to face the 76ers. Because although, I get all this hate about Ben Simmons, I think Ben Simmons would have had a really fun series with Drew Holiday guarding him. Just that mismatch in general. I know, Ben Simmons wasn't having the greatest postseason, but regardless, Ben Simmons was still an all-star. I get all this hate, but then again, I don't get all this hate. He was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. He, had 13 assists in that Game 7, although he only had 4 points. The game isn't only offense, and although he sucks at offense, at least he gives you defense. It'll be interesting if a trade does come, because all these quotes after the games makes me think that it will. But if I want to go back to the Bucks versus Hawks, who's going to guard Giannis, guys? Who is going to guard Giannis? It can't be Clint Capella because Giannis will just go right by him. Maybe it'll be Clint Capella. Who else? Danilo Gallinari. I don't think he's strong enough to guard Giannis. That's a huge mismatch. And another big thing is, the Drew Holiday Trae Young matchup is going to be huge. I think Drew Holiday is a great matchup. He's taller than Trae Young. He's stronger than Trae Young. He's quicker. NBA fans might think Trae Young is the quickest guy in the NBA. He's not. He's just shifty. And Drew Holiday, has been against these guards. He's been against Damian Lillard in playoff series. I think he'll hold his own. And Chris Middleton just has to show up. He just has to be consistent. I don't want to see a 5-point per game Chris Middleton in the conference finals. And I think this is the easiest year for the Bucks to win the conference finals. They've been in it a handful of times in the past years, and this is their best chance to go to the actual finals and to win the championship. And that's big for Wisconsin sports. As a person that lives in Wisconsin and has lived in Wisconsin for 16 years out of my 19 years on Earth, it would be huge just because, the Packers haven't won a Super Bowl since 2011. Wisconsin sports, like the University of Wisconsin sports teams, have always been a letdown. Wisconsin basketball team, the college basketball team, has been to Final Four like 3 different times in the last 6 years, and they've never made it to winning an NCAA championship. But regardless, I think this is the Bucks' best chance, and I think that's where I end off this video because I've been recording for 16 minutes. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.